it's a really fluid process that I was wildly interested in. And these guys are artists of the highest regard.
As a filmmaker that you are from Mexico, it's very obvious that the story appeals to you. Obviously, also to the director and the actors, but what's for you as a producer being involved in this story that's an ancient story for Mexico and is very important?
Well, the two things that are important for me, I produced a lot of first-time directions, so it was very important to protect the livelihood of Jorge. And to protect the vision he had, when I saw the first few images, I knew he had something unique. Oh, sorry, I'm retaining water. And then it was about celebrating the fact that Mexico, we can go to its roots, we can go to its essence, but one essence that we wanted to celebrate was the international essence of Mexico. We know that as Mexicans, we are shaped as much by world music, or Bruce Lee movies, or Santa movies, as we are by things that are folkloric. So we wanted to make the movie eminently modern, but steeped very deeply in our roots and celebrate what Day of the Dead is about, which is life. Celebrating life and celebrating those that came before us. I saw Jorge and I saw myself a few pounds earlier, and I said, I gotta protect this fat bastard. I'm gonna go to the radio, and I want to protect the guy, I love him. And he's a true new voice, I think, in the image creation of film.
Thank you.
Yes, so over here, for the director and producer, we're talking about as well. So what's the difference with this animation-wise aspect compared to the movies that we're expecting this year?
One of the big things we wanted to do was, because of the type of movie we are, we're from a new studio called Real Effects, teaming up with Fox. We didn't have all these legacies that we had to live up to, so we could really create something unique and different, and try to tell a different story that you hadn't seen before, with a look that you hadn't seen before. And as a lover of animated films, I kept waiting, like, when is the Mexican story going to happen? When is the Mexican princess going to show up? And so all those things that I didn't see growing up, I wanted to put up there. And one of the biggest things in the movie was, we don't want to look like the other movies. We don't want to sound like the other movies. We don't want to feel like the other movies. That if you eat steak every day, you're not going to like it. If you eat hamburgers every day, we wanted to make you some really authentic tacos that not only people in Mexico would enjoy, but the rest of the world would enjoy.
I agree. It's like I think film is a banquet, and to bring something that truly resonates with anyone trying to experience a new food, you need to bring something that is specific to you. So in order to be universal, we try to be very specific to our culture and who we are and what we love. And I think that I would answer shortly that everybody involved is what's new about the movie. We are not any of us is trying to cash in on a beautiful black-lit CGI movie about talking animals with a hit soundtrack that has been skateboarding and whipping one-liners. It's something else. It's something fresh and daring and beautiful, like the heart of Jorge, which is full of cholesterol and art.
George, I'm just wondering, what attracted you to Channing to have him as the...
His eyebrows.
Thanks for that. You have to ask.
I can honestly say I love, and I told him I love Magic Mike. I think it's the godfather of male stripper movies.
I want to thank you personally for serving me up like that.
With the character Joaquin, he had to be a sort of the high school quarterback that everyone loved, this super iconic, lively, charming, over-the-top guy. And honestly, I thought Channing was going to say no. And when we pitched to him, I told him, you're going to be Captain Latin America. You have like the mustache of Mexico, or the suaveness of Brazil, Elvis of Argentina. And he was like, and he just jumped in, and when you see the movie, you'll see.
And it's from the Tatums of Oaxaca. It's Mexican too. It's Magic Miguel.
Thank you so much. It really looks like an amazing film. action or comedy, so pretty much always goes over. Was that different? Was that any funner or more challenging? I like doing voiceovers because I don't have to wear makeup and I don't have to shower. And sorry, Jorge, sometimes I didn't brush my teeth. But, for me, I like the process too. I like the process of going in and you're kind of doing this blind and you're having to imagine this person in your mind and the way they move and the way they carry themselves and how their mouth moves because you haven't seen any of it. You don't know yet. And then when you finally get to go in a few months later and you're doing some more dialogue and you get to, it comes to life. It's kind of a magical moment. It was really, really cool the other day. I finally got to finish all my stuff and actually do my dialogue to picture, and it was such an incredible feeling, and this movie looks just, I've never seen anything like it, so I'm really proud of it.
I've always loved voice work because it's an invitation to just come in and give a full-blown performance without all the, like the bullshit that Moscow Art Theater goes through, 6 months of discussion. This is like, all right, boom, what do you got? So you're always working on an incredibly instinctive level. There's not a lot of analysis going on. And you're going for the brass ring, like, immediately. So it's very primal, and it's kind of like pure performing for performing's sake. And of course, if you go horribly wrong, you'll be pulled back and stuff. And so there's a lot of checks and balances, but you really are kind of asked to go for it in a big way. And just kind of suits my wheelhouse, my approach.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never really worked on an animation movie. I mean, I did a little part in Lego, but that was basically just me and Jonah going in for an hour and making fun of each other. And that was easy. But coming in and sitting with Jorge, he's got such an energy and a life to him, and it's like working with a net that you physically can't do anything wrong. Like, you could try absolutely anything, and I did, and everything, anything. It's a really fluid process that I was wildly interested in. And these guys are artists of the highest regard.
Sorry. I just love that, Guillermo, what do you think of the Mexican style?
Well, I'm part of it. I mean, I'm still incredibly active as producer. I have just produced the latest on a series of first-time director movies for a new director, Celso Garcia. I think that it's a very healthy, creatively healthy cinema, constantly reinventing itself. We come from a very, very difficult background. Cinema is not necessarily the first priority or the most urgent priority in Mexico, so every filmmaker there or anywhere you are needs to keep it alive. You need to keep your roots there. And each generation has reinvented Mexican cinema to a degree. The generation that came before us was very different than my generation, the generation that is active right now in Mexico, very different from the generation. And you see there's such variety that every year Mexico produces 20 movies, but they are so different that you get the sense that they are producing thousands of movies because they are such variety. So I think it's important to just keep it alive every time you go out.
Question for you. Now, we know that, of course, Channing Tatum got picked up by Guillermo because of his quarterback machismo, so to speak. But what was the draw for each of you to jump on the script?
Well, there wasn't one. So I've actually never seen one. By the way, this is true. I'm not. Jorge came over to my house, and
it was kind of her husband's a musician, and I don't know if he told you that one of his super amazing guitars. And then I put a cup of water on his mixing board, and he's like, "What are you doing?"
What are you doing? That's what you can dramatize it. That's kind of good. No, my husband, we have a working studio at the house. My husband's a musician, so because I don't like to leave my home, they wanted to meet with me and then said, "You can come up here and do the presentation." And they wanted to do it. He wanted to do a presentation because there was no script, but there was some of the, the artwork. And he just put the artwork up on the screen and talked me through it. And I was just mesmerized. First of all, I had chills, just the storyline and the passion that he had for what the story he was trying to tell. And just the idea that no one ever dies and love never dies. And it's always living, whether it's in our memory or if you believe that life never dies because of science. There's that, but you know. But anyway, it was a beautiful love story, and he was so passionate, and the artwork was just like insane. I'd never seen anything like it, so I said yes right away. And then they said Channing Tatum was going to be in it, and I said that guy from that Ricky Martin.
The Princess Bride is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I remember telling Christina, "You're like a really young, beautiful Columbo that's going to tell the story."
Yeah.
So she's like, "What?"
I have a question for the cast. In one word or two words, for somebody who's interested in seeing the film, what would you tell them? If you could do it in one word, if you need to, that's cool, to describe your character, and for Guillermo and Jorge, what one word would you choose to describe the film to get somebody excited to see it?
Well, oh my God, you know that I totally like spaced out just now.
Mine's easy. I'll go first. Let her. Mustache. And the movie Life. That's it.
Come back to me.
I would say the movie is a journey. So it's a journey. To be specifically one.
I would describe it as spicy.
And yet soft.
Magical.
Vaginal? Did she say vaginal?
It's vaginal.
Oh, well, now I know what I'm going to say. I don't know. I had a thought. It's dazzling. And I would like to explain what I mean when I said that, because I know you want to know what more that is. And fuck right here. Let's face it, there's no better panel. There's no better way to talk about it. It's all about that dimension. When I did my first movie with Guillermo in 1991, was when I was introduced to the concept of the Day of the Dead. And
When you're contract,
and it was I never got it. And it was what I did, aside from there's a myriad of things that you can take away when someone first describes to you why there is a Day of the Dead and why there is a culture that has invented this pagan ritual, and why and how charming it is. There's a myriad of ways. But for me, it was like we live in a culture here where death is an enemy, it's fear, it's something you run from. And this was this beautiful relationship of the living to the dead, where you make friends with it, and you understand that it's just part of this continuum, and you demystify it and celebrate it in a way where you bring beauty to it. And to be able to be part of a film that's going to introduce that to little kids, you know, in America, who would probably never be introduced to it otherwise. That's dazzling. Dazzling.
Thank you, that's all we have time for.
Thank you, guys.